wonder if we could begin by talking about when you started thinking about and working on this particular exhibition.
I suppose the seeds of the idea began perhaps 5 or 6 years ago. And in fact, it always happens like this, but looking back 20 years, I can see the beginnings of these ideas. But of course, as usually happens, 20 years ago I just wasn't in a position to contemplate all these things, not just the size of things, because I always worked fairly big, but this way of presenting some of the ideas that are certainly going to be part of this exhibition, and certainly undergird the nature of the paintings.
What was the impetus for the show? What are the influences behind the work?
I suppose the biggest one, and it's really a philosophical idea, is an inquiry really about the nature of nature. What is it? So when we walk down the street, what are we doing? You know, why can we walk in a straight line? Why do trees stay upright and grow downwards? And when we look up, why is the sky doing what the sky is doing? You know, without thinking about it from a scientific point of view, without thinking about it from a poetic point of view, certainly without being romantic, then you know what's going on here. What does it mean when I bite into an apple and taste the taste of the apple? What does it mean when I see the same apple lying on the ground rotting? What's going on here? And somehow I've wanted to explore that. Not necessarily to give answers, because that's not the role of painting, but to explore it, because, well, I at least think it's interesting.
So what for you is the role of painting then?
I think the role of painting really is... let me talk about what it isn't. I think my feeling is that painting isn't there to teach anything. It's certainly not me saying, I have this idea, my paintings illustrate that idea, and I want you to believe what I say. It's not that. The other thing that it isn't, I think, is decoration. That is, however big or small or finely wrought, it's not just to excite, I believe, the senses of sight, or smell, or touch, or anything. I don't think it's just that. But I do think that the role of painting is to help the viewer and the painter to engage with the subject of the painting, to engage with the nature of the painting, to engage with the history of the painting, or of painting generically, and to be, through that engagement, moved by it, I think.
When you say that now things need to be big, I'm wondering why you feel these need to be big.
Now, this is a difficult one as well, because lots of people do monumental paintings. These actually aren't what you'd really call monumental paintings. There are much bigger ones around. But the ideas are big, and within the limits of where I work, with the limits of being able to manufacture these things, then I want them to be as big as possible. And the fact that, for instance, these things are diptychs or triptychs, or multi-panel paintings, is a practicality. It's a matter of expediency. I haven't got room to put them all together in one piece, and have no way of shifting them. But also, the other side to that is that the history of the triptych, or the history of multi-panel paintings, is an interesting one as well, and I want to embrace that as heartily as I can, because of what a triptych means or has meant in the past. And these paintings, I think, aren't just a nod towards ancient triptych painting. They are engaging what the subject of those multi-panel paintings engaged with.
Have your working methods differed at all with these paintings? Or in fact, would you like to talk?
Oh yes, it's been really challenging. I've always been interested in materials, the material of the painting, not only for the sake of the painting, making it richer colour or a nicer surface or lumpier or smoother or something, not merely for that, but because of the metaphorical relationship between the subject of the painting, the structure of the painting, and the meaning of the painting. So, for instance, if you're painting about apples with sand, then you're making a metaphorical link. If you're painting about flowers by writing instead of drawing, then that's a metaphorical or symbolic. I suppose it's symbolic rather than metaphorical kind of engagement with the painting. So it's been exciting because I've really started to push the material structure of the paintings. I've always been very fond of things like wax and natural pigments and so on, and now I've shifted really. I suppose through in recent years a new approach, a different approach for me to drawing, where I'm trying to engage with the subject through writing, through rhythm, through substance. That's the substance of the drawing, and the substance of the object. To try and make something which is fundamentally interesting when you look at it as a painting. So, yeah, so it's been interesting to push that really, really hard. And there have been some real failures, but also through the failures there have been some successes because of new and rather different combinations of materials. And again, what I was saying earlier about paintings not just being an aesthetic phenomenon, the new combinations of materials aren't just new and novel. That's the word. They're not just new and novel. I think I'm trying to find a material presence within the painting that says something about smell, that says something about the nature of the object, says something about the substructure of reality, says something about the logos of things.
And this brings us back to something you said earlier, where this is the aspect of things you're exploring. You're not exploring the poetic aspect of things, the scientific aspect of things, the philosophical aspect of things. But with this exhibition, or accompanying this exhibition, I think you're looking to reach out to people from various, other forms of art and the non-artistic community,
yes,
to engage with this, yes, this search for the nature of nature.
Yes. Yes. There's a wonderful poem by Rilke, and I can't quote it, but where he really says, what is this apple, this pear, this orange, this banana? Let's look at them. I'm not just going to describe them, but you know them because you've eaten them before. Let's explore the nature of the smell. Let's explore the thing which is a very simple and everyday object, which gives us such delight. And he ends the poem by saying, maybe that's what we're for. That is our role in the world, to celebrate simple things. And it's the same sentiment that we find in people like William Blake, who says so much about grains of sand.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel really strongly like that. I sense that that's where I'm coming from. So it is philosophical, but the paintings aren't philosophy. The paintings are paintings about an idea, if you like. But the other thing is that you only have to read a newspaper or one of the many books that we're bombarded with lately, or listen to the lectures of current scientists, or some of the philosophical statements by mathematicians and others, to realize that many people are still inquiring about the nature of nature from different points of view, absolutely different points of view. And I find that fascinating. The idea that music can do it isn't new. But can non-romantic music do it? That's a good question. Because if somebody talks about the grandeur of mountain ranges and the sea and the sky and the mystery that surrounds that, then we nearly always click into some sort of romantic framework. But of course we don't have to be romantic about it. We can be very realistic about it. Many scientists are. Many religious people are, without being romantic. And I think I want these paintings not to be romantic paintings, but to deal with the mystery of being in some small way.
Paul Martin, thank you very much.